medical breakthroughs and the latest health information at ketu.com.
January 16, 2002.
It took suicidal pilots and associates with box cutters to bring us to this.
Have any of the items that you traveled with been left unattended at any time?
Then came a bomb in a shoe. Now they inspect those as well.
Take a look at all the security breaches that have been out there since 9/11. Are we any safer?
As the threat keeps changing, how do we keep up?
Matching passengers and bags doesn't stop terrorist bombers from wanting to blow themselves up.
Have any unknown persons asked you to carry items on board tonight's flight?
Tonight, fear of flying, trying to make the skies safer.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
We called the folks at American Airlines and Delta and United and US Air and JetBlue and a couple of other carriers too, and asked them if they could provide one of their executives to talk about the fact that by Friday, all baggage checked onto a commercial airliner will have to be screened or at least matched to a passenger who has boarded the same flight. None of them, not one, wanted to talk about it. We will be talking to a former president of American Airlines, but the key word there is former. It may have something to do with the fact that the new security measures are expensive, time-consuming, and arguably of limited security value. The airlines know this, but it is hardly in their interest to say so publicly. After all, they want to restore the confidence of airline passengers. Congress mandated the changes, so the airlines didn't have a choice in the matter. Would any of the security measures implemented since September 11th have prevented what happened at the World Trade Center or the Pentagon? No. Would the new measures that go into effect on Friday? No again. Nor, for that matter, would the new X-ray machines that will have to be in place by the end of next December. But the industry and the government are doing the best they can. Here's Nightline correspondent John Donvan.
Remember what everyone was saying in September. If there are holes in the nation's airport security that allowed this to happen, then hurry up and fix them. This...
Pack your bag state. Bag's been under your control, no stranger help pack.
Are you carrying anything on board the aircraft that may be dangerous?
Any of the items that you traveled with been left unattended?
This was not going to be good enough anymore. Congress got the hurry up part of the message all right, and the law it passed in the fall gave the administration a deadline of 60 days, exactly 60 days, to make sure that every piece of checked baggage, every suitcase and hat box and dog carrier that a passenger wants to put on a plane is first somehow screened to make sure there is not a bomb inside it.
Security comes first. The federal government will set high standards, and we will enforce them.
Except the Transportation Secretary came out a week after that law was passed and implied they couldn't do it.
The law says that we have to start screening baggage in 60 days. There aren't enough people. There aren't enough Bob-sniffing dogs.
But it was clear no one wanted to hear that.
You can't say 1 week after a bill has been signed that you can't do it.
And so today, day 58, so to speak, because the deadline comes Friday, they have done it, sort of.
Let's figure it out. Let's find out what has to be done, because these deadlines are not negotiable.
As of Friday, every airline in the country has a choice. It can hand-check every piece of luggage, it can X-ray every piece, it can have sniffer dogs check every piece, or it can do something called baggage matching. In reality, however, because there's still a huge shortage of X-ray machines, because it takes time and money to train an army of sniffer dogs, because there just isn't the staff nationally to hand-search every piece of luggage, it is that last option, baggage matching, that most airlines are expected to deploy on Friday to meet the legal deadline. What that means, in essence, is making sure that for every piece of luggage in the cargo hold, there actually is a passenger who checked it in, sitting in a seat on the airplane. This is an approach long used in Europe, and it depends on the theory that few terrorists are willing to plant a bomb on an airplane in which they themselves are traveling. Of course, as many have pointed out, this would not have stopped the 9/11 terrorists.
Matching bags with passengers, again, does not screen, it does not determine whether there's an explosive in a bag or not. It just determines whether or not that terrorist really wants to go to the next world with a Samsonite or not.
Bag matching, in fact, is something the U.S. airlines have resisted up till now because it takes time, and time is money. For example, if a passenger checks a bag but does not board the plane, the whole flight will have to be delayed while a ground crew climbs into the cargo hold and looks for and removes that passenger's luggage. Another critique of baggage matching is that it will only be done at the start of the first leg of any passenger's itinerary. Baggage that's moving to connecting flights will not be rematched. That said, some in the airline industry argue you can pick this plane apart if you want to, but it's a lot better than nothing. It does, after all, make it harder for the non-suicide bomber to hit a U.S. plane. And by the end of the year, it will only be one of several tools that are scheduled to be in place. The law specifically calls for X-ray equipment to be available at all major airports by December 31st to screen every single piece of luggage. True, there are not enough of those machines in existence right now to fill the need, but the manufacturer of one of those systems says the industry is gearing up for the big rush order to come. Is air travel safer than it was before September 11th? It depends on whom you ask. Administration officials say one thing.
That I believe our aviation security is improving.
Since September 11th, there have been substantial improvements.
Critics say something else.
We still have the same management and the same oversight in place as we did on 9/11 for airport security. Until we change that, we can't expect ourselves to be materially safer than we are today.
It's a matter of trying to find a balance, a system with more rigid protections, but not so rigid that the system cannot work efficiently, or as Norman Mineta put it last fall.
Our goal in passenger screening is no weapons, no waiting.
Hitting that mark has proved difficult. You have on the one hand a man who only last month was able to board a plane with plastic explosives in his shoes. On the other hand, the overzealousness of the security guard who made Congressman John Dingell drop his trousers at a security check because a metal pin in his hip had set off the metal detector. And only today a taste of the inconvenience that is inevitable now that we are all on a heightened state of alert. Detroit's airport, where hundreds of people were evacuated because a single passenger, apparently without meaning to, stepped around a security checkpoint rather than going through it. What does this say? That security is absurdly lax because he went around, or security is absurdly tight because they ended up shutting the place down? Regarding inconvenience, polls suggest that most passengers are willing to put up with some of that if it's the price to be paid for feeling safer. Meanwhile, the experts and critics work out and argue out what safer really means, and how do we get there in a hurry. I'm John Donvan for Nightline in Washington.
So are the new measures being put into place going to make the skies any safer?
Unfortunately, it turns out that eternal vigilance is the price not only of liberty but also security.
The system is much better now than it was on September 11th, and a year from now it will be better still.
That conversation when we come back.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by MasterCard.
Sleeping bag for his first sleepover, $40. Backpack, $18.
Sorry about that. Hey, buddy, you couldn't sleep, huh?
Walkie-talkies, $25. Going home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accepted for everything that makes home, home.
You've all read this. Top shelf consultants. $2 million. Pure strategic thinking could put us years ahead. The board is psyched. I'm psyched. It's a brilliant plan. One question. Given our current technology, is this implementable?
No.
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 Strategies you can actually execute?
No.
Now there's a plan.
Still psyched?
Thursday, Russell Crowe unleashed on his wild reputation, death threats, and what everyone wants to know about Meg Ryan. A Diane Sawyer exclusive, primetime Thursday.
It's the start of another year, and Chevy wants to make it one to remember. That's why we're kicking it into overdrive with $2,002 cash back on every new 2001 and 2002 Chevy car, truck, and SUV. That's $2,002 when you lease or purchase any new Chevrolet. It's a new year, and a new Chevy could make all the difference. So see your local Chevy dealer today.
Get online with MSN Broadband. Use it to order prints of Chicago photos. Use it to listen to Chicago radio. And watch ESPN.com highlights of Chicago teams.
I love it. Bet your bottom dollar.
Then email friends that you're coping with the job transfer just fine. Want an internet service you can really use? MSN from Microsoft is the great alternative to AOL. MSN, more useful every day.
Our guests tonight are Robert Crandall, the former chairman and CEO of American Airlines. Mr. Crandall retired from American in 1998, and he joins us tonight from our Dallas bureau. Matthew Wald, a 25-year veteran of the New York Times, has been the aviation correspondent for that paper since 1995. He joins us here in Washington. So, truth be told, Mr. Crandall, if you were still chairman and CEO of American, would we have the pleasure of your company tonight?
Well, Ted, that's speculation, so I don't know.
Yeah, but you do know. Would you or wouldn't you have?
I really don't know, Ted. I think I'm not sure why none of the chief executives would come and talk to you. I think the fact is...
Oh, hell, it wasn't just chief executives. I mean, none of the executives would come and talk.
Whatever. The fact of the matter is, of course, they have a closer knowledge of what's going on than I do. But the fact is, in your introductory remarks, you made the point everybody's doing the best they can. And I think everybody is doing the best they can. There's certainly nobody more interested in security than airline people. The security of their airplanes is the essence of their business. And you can be sure they're working hard on it. There's a couple points I think might be interesting to you and those watching. Way back in 1970, President Nixon created air marshals. At one time, there were 2,000 air marshals. About 10 years ago, back in 1990, following Pan Am 103, there was a commission that recommended many of the very things we are doing today. If we're going to have good security, we're going to have persistence. We can't change our mind every couple of years. We can't stop spending money every time there has not been an incident for 5 or 10 years. We've got to do this persistently and consistently. And we have got to use much better intelligence resources. One of the points you made in your introductory remarks again was that nothing that has been done since would have prevented what happened on September 11th. I'm not sure that's right.
Tell me where you disagree with that.
I would disagree, Ted. I think today, I do not know the full details of this. I do know that there is a much tighter integration of information flowing between the airlines, between government law enforcement agencies, than there was then. And I suspect that some of the suspicious signs that those folks gave off in today's environment would be picked up and that would have been prevented. Now, that's after the fact, but I think one of the key elements of a good security system is very aggressive use of intelligence data so that we can look carefully at people as well as at things.
Matthew Wald, somebody has the most extraordinary collection of nail clippers ever gathered since the history of man was first recorded. And you know what I'm saying there. I don't mean to make light of it, but does that kind of thing really make a difference, or is that intended simply to give people a greater feeling of confidence?
It makes a difference if terrorists are going to try the same trick twice. The problem with being on the defensive team is you don't get to pick the plays. Unfortunately, it turns out that eternal vigilance is the price not only of liberty but also security. and that if you're doing it well, it looks like there's nothing to defend against. There's no real criteria for success, which is why it's hard to sustain the effort, but I think at this point we're going to sustain the effort until we have lots and lots of nail clippers.
The paragon, the example that is always cited as being the best kind of airline security in the world is El Al.
Yeah, but they're not as good as you think they are. They got into this because they had a hijacking. People forget that, and they've been good at it since then. Hopefully we will do the same. We will take this catastrophe and be extremely vigilant for a very long time.
There's another aspect to that, Mr. Crandall, and that is that El Al has roughly 40 or 45 aircraft, and American Airlines, for example, has how many?
Oh, 700 plus, certainly.
But is that the main difference as far as you're concerned?
Well, it's obviously a much larger scale operation, Ted. El Al is an entirely international operation, and American is a mixed domestic and international operation. But I think the reality is that El Al uses intelligence very aggressively. They train their people very carefully. Certainly in the U.S. system, we will have to hire many more people and train many more people. I see no reason why we cannot do that. And if we bring together the intelligence resources of private enterprise in the United States, the airlines themselves, and the law enforcement agencies, I think we can bring intelligence to bear on this so that we can look at people just as carefully as we are planning to look at things. And if that is the case, we will have an outstanding security system for the U.S. aviation industry.
Let's take a short break, and I know, Matt Wald, you've got a couple of thoughts on what else distinguishes El Al or makes it different from American carriers. We'll pick up on that notion when we come back.
It seems like only yesterday. When I started skating at 8 years old, I never thought I'd experience the thrill of winning a medal. With all the great memories has come another thing I thought I'd never experience, the pain of osteoarthritis.
Vioxx is here, a prescription medicine for osteoarthritis pain. With one little pill a day, Vioxx can provide powerful 24-hour relief. Vioxx specifically targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. People with allergic reactions such as asthma to aspirin or other arthritis medicines should not take Vioxx. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. For more information, talk to your doctor about once daily Vioxx for the relief of osteoarthritis pain.
Perhaps my biggest victory is to be able to plan my day around my life instead of my pain.
Ask your doctor if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx for everyday victories.
8 yards back, 2 down, long 2.
Go back, go the ball, throw the ball, catch the ball, go.
On Heinrich, and he's got the first on the 43.
Order in Hitachi projection TV at Sears, and we'll deliver it in time for the big game. And get 0% for 1 year on all projection TVs. Delivery guaranteed by February 3rd, only at Sears. Where else?
Coming up, actors from 2 major movies, a punk star with a major attitude, and...
You're a Republican, so you don't count.
Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher.
It's the start of another year, and Chevy wants to make it one to remember. That's why we're kicking it into overdrive with $2,002 cash back on every new 2001 and 2002 Chevy car, truck, and SUV. That's $2,002 when you lease or purchase any new Chevrolet. It's a new year, and a new Chevy could make all the difference. So see your local Chevy dealer today.
More like this.
Want expert help whenever you need it? At Office Depot, our people listen, understand, and help.
How can I make these look like they're not just from my home office?
Some digital...
It'd be nice if everything was like that. Office Depot. What you need to know.
Back once again with Robert Crandall and Matthew Wald. You made the point point, Mr. Crandall, that the El Al is a purely international operation. Matthew Wald, why does that make a big difference?
It makes a difference because here in the United States, we've always had tougher security on international flights than domestic flights. The big effort that may gum up the air transportation system on Friday is to bring the same kind of bag matching, or at least part of that, to the domestic system that we've always had on the international system. We are moving in some ways towards the kind of system the Israelis have, the Israelis being much admired, but we're not doing it quite the way they are. We are going to have security screeners as a profession. We're going to elevate them in society. We're going to pay them well, as the Israelis do. However, I should point out, we're not going all the way. The Israelis focus themselves much more tightly. We are searching everybody. The Israelis do look at everybody, but they burrow in much deeper in people who they suspect. And of course, they have for a long time done sorts of ethnic profiling that we don't dare.
Well, there's something else they do, Mr. Crandall, and that is I've flown in and out of Tel Aviv many times. You know when you're leaving Tel Aviv, it's going to take you 3 hours to get out of, to get through that airport. Is the American flying public willing to put up with that kind of a delay on a regular, sustained basis?
Well, I don't think so, Ted, but I don't think it's going to have to. You got to keep in mind that when you're leaving Tel Aviv, among other things, you're always leaving on a very large airplane. All of the airplanes that operate in the United States are not very large. Some are much smaller. I think the key point here is that the Israelis do focus particularly on people that their intelligence system tells them is likely to be a risk. And I very much hope the U.S. system is going to do that. We don't need to do ethnic profiling, but we certainly should do behavioral profiling. We ought to, for example, have fast lanes for those people who provide biometric identification, for you, for me, for the people who are not a threat. And for those people who are a threat, that's where we ought to focus our resources.
What do you mean by biometric?
Well, for example, if you identify yourself in advance with a fingerprint, right, with a voice print, so that when you come up to the security checkpoint, you can wave a cell phone, for example, across a reader, and a picture of Ted Koppel will pop up on the screen. That's obviously you. We know a lot about you. We've done the necessary background information. We know you're there because we've got your picture there. We've got a biometric identification as a voice print. We don't have to worry a lot about you and the security threat that you represent. And that will allow us to move through.
I find that very reassuring, Matthew, but you know, how long is it going to be before we have that in place in every airport?
I saw a demonstration of that system today. It could be in place in every airport in the United States within 6 months.
This is a little trickier than it sounds because the people who do these background checks have got to be better than the people who mail credit cards to 4-year-olds or the people who are in charge of all other kinds of security we have problems with. You can, in fact, verify somebody's identity, but doing a thorough background check on that person is tricky, and I, for one, am not eager to sit next to a person with such a pass unless I'm confident that his pass was very well earned.
And when Mr. Crandall says 6 months, you buy that, Matthew?
Well, you know, if the president nominates somebody to office, it takes 6 months for the FBI to get around to doing their background check. Now, you don't have to have as thorough a background check to get one of these passes as you do to be junior undersecretary of something or other, but we don't have the mechanism in place right now for vetting people.
What about price?
Presumably that would be on the frequent flyers account. I don't know what it would cost.
Do you have any idea, Mr. Crandall?
Yes, I think that kind of a system, I do think it would be paid for by the individual that chose to subscribe. And my guess is that for an annual fee of $25 to $30, that could be financed and be a profitable business.
What kind of check do you do for $25 or $30 other than run a quick internet search?
Well, Matt, we can have a long debate about that. But if we get the necessary legislative changes in Congress, you can get very comprehensive databases. Part of the problem with background checking in the United States today is that there is legislation on the books that prevents those driver's licenses information, for example, from being shared with others.
Are you talking really about, I mean, this is only a half step away from a national ID card, right?
Well, I think the reality is a national ID card would presumably mandate that everybody carry one. This wouldn't mandate that everybody carry one. This approach, however, implies as follows, that flying is a discretionary activity, that in order to fly, we as a society are entitled to put some constraints on you and in some respects to strip away some of the privacy that you might have if you elect not to fly.
Let me just jump in because we've only got about 45 seconds left. Matt, what's going to happen on Friday? Things going to be, is it going to be a mess?
Nobody knows. It's going to be fun to watch.
What do you think?
I think that if you could fly on a different day, you might be advised to try it. It might be like watching a bad snowstorm roll through and just wondering how gummed up it was going to get.
And do you, Mr. Crandall, feel more comfortable knowing that the measures that are going to be in place on Friday are going to be in place, or, truth be told, is it largely cosmetic?
No, I think the reality is that Friday will go reasonably smoothly. I would expect some upsets in the first 10 days, 2 weeks, and after that I think it will run smoothly. And as to the totality of security, the system is much better now than it was on September 11th, and a year from now it will be better still, thank goodness.
Bob Crandall and Matthew Wallace, thank you both.
Thanks.
I'll be back in a moment with a word about tomorrow's Nightline.
To receive a daily email about each evening's Nightline and a preview of special broadcasts, log on to the Nightline page at abcnews.com.
You're going to go on a cruise.
It's expensive, though, isn't it?
No, it's a lot less than you think it was. The food's all inclusive. You've got your hotel right there. You never have to fly anywhere. You unpack once. It's great. Oh, the ladies are going to love you for this. Your wife is just going to sit there and be, oh, honey. Oh, and you know, every once in a while you get to go golfing. And then you get to eat. And then you get to go snorkeling if you want. And then, did I mention that you get to go golfing?
Yeah, you did.
Where is that?
Heartburn. Zantac 75 knows it comes in many shapes and sizes. Brought on by food or triggered by stress. But fast heartburn relief anytime always comes in this shape, this size. Zantac. When there's too much acid, Zantac quickly blocks the strongest acid trigger to relieve heartburn fast. Yet it's so gentle, you can use it anytime. Whatever the shape or size of your heartburn, remember Zantac, the shape of fast heartburn relief anytime.
I'm going to be late for my own wedding. No worries. My new Subaru Outback's more stable in a turn than a Lexus RX 300. Gets better gas mileage than a Ford Explorer. And like every Subaru, has the added traction of all-wheel drive.
Subaru Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon.
The rugged outdoorsy type. Nice choice.
Now you can get an APR as low as 2.9% on all 2002 Outback models.
See what you're missing on AT&T Digital Cable and the HBO Max Pack. With a fresh new selection of up to 200 quality channels, you're sure to find what you love and love what you find. Include HBO and Cinemax, and you've got the best movies and shows going. From the biggest box office hits to the shows critics rave about. Call 1-800-CABLE-ME. Get free installation of Digital Gold with multiple channels of HBO and Cinemax. Less than $1.50 a day for the first 3 months. AT&T Digital Cable. TV at its best.
On January 25th, witness the greatest tale of betrayal, adventure, and revenge the world has ever known.
I'm a goat, not a saint.
The Count of Monte Cristo, rated PG-13, starts January 25th.
When you log on and sign up for K2's Microcast, you get a forecast custom fit to your front door. That's because K2's Microcast takes the scientific information that I use and creates a detailed forecast just for you. K2's Microcast, exclusively at KATU.com.
Tomorrow on Nightline, Al-Qaeda operates there. Americans have died there. The Middle Eastern country that just may be the next front in the war on terrorism. That's tomorrow night. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Tomorrow, this machine measures stress in your voice. This one scans your face. New airport security that sounds like science fiction but protects you when you fly on World News Tonight.
A princess accused of pushing her maid down the stairs. She denies it. Now hear from the maid. What she says is almost unbelievable. 2020, back on Friday.
Our country has a great opportunity to create a future that meets our energy needs, reduce our dependence on foreign oil, and protect America's remaining special places. We can invest in solar and wind power and build more fuel-efficient cars and trucks. Or we can continue the policies of the past and sacrifice places like the Arctic Wildlife Refuge without achieving energy security. It's our choice. Find out where your senator stands, with the future or the past.
Shelly, listen, it's Greg. I'm at the dentist. Yeah, okay. Shelly? I want to come into work. They don't know what I've got. I have a tooth. Scratching, rashing, 24-hour, like, mumps. What else do I have? I am really sick. Both ears, gone. Really bad haircut. I'm in traction.
The Acura MDX with torque managing four-wheel drive.
I was eating wax fruit this week. No.
Taking the SUV to a place it's never been before.
K2 and Legacy Cancer Services remind you to take a moment for your health. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer, excluding skin cancers, in American men.
The key to prevention is a healthy diet. The key to cure is early detection. Early detection is simply a blood test and a very brief exam. The good thing about diagnosing it earlier is we are curing this disease.
Take a moment for your health. Learn more at katu.com.
This is K2, the breaking news station.
All right, welcome to Politically Incorrect. Let me introduce you to our panel. Over here we have Mr. Tom Wilkinson. He is the winner of the New York Film Critics' Best Actor Award. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And the Independent Spirit Award for In the Bedroom. Tara Setmeyer is up here, a Republican strategist. Welcome aboard. Then the CEO of Universal Strategies Group. Of course, to my left, Mr. Johnny Lydon, the pioneer of punk, the original Sex Pistol. And next to him, his constant male companion, Peter Boyle.
We just met.
Let me give you a few credits. He's, of course, may get an Oscar for Monsters Ball. He certainly would deserve it. And he's on Everybody Loves Raymond, Mondays at 9 on CBS. Now you can applaud for everybody. And... okay. All right. I want to have a theme show tonight, although that's never worked out so far in 9 years. But the theme would be living in the manner in which they've become accustomed. You know that phrase? It struck me the other day because I was reading about the money that goes to the settlement of the victims from the World Trade Center. You know, 4.4